Canon Rebel SL3 review. Okay, so although it did come out last year, I thought a review of the SL3 might be helpful to someone, so here we go. Hi, I'm Benjamin Butcher. My pronouns are he, him, and right now I'm pushing to hit 1,000 subscribers in the next 6 months. I'm also doing a giveaway. More on that below the like button. Okay, so let's start with the most important stuff first. Is this camera a good buy? Well, to be criminally succinct, yeah. It's actually a fantastic product, and I do have 2 caveats, however. Firstly, I'm a student of tech and journalism, not a wedding photographer, and this camera more than meets my needs. To expand this a little, the SL3 is a very tech-oriented camera, and I love that about it. Secondly, if Canon was the Google of making cameras, then Pentax is probably the Apple of making cameras. In keeping with this analogy, does Google make nice products? Hell yeah. Are they as consistently well thought out and made as Apple? Probably not. One of the things that I've never liked about Canon cameras is the way the battery slot is in the same place as the SD card at the bottom of the camera. Why is this a big deal, you ask? Well, because if you're like me or any other photographers who use a tripod, you need to remove the mount to access the SD card. Compare this with the Pentax, who put a dedicated slot on the side of their camera, so you never have to do this. With Pentax, I could easily leave the mount on my camera for an indefinite period, and honestly, I would love to be able to do that. Having got that off my chest, I think Canon is just a much more forward-looking, futuristic camera than its Pentax equivalents. On the note of Pentax equivalents, let's talk about pricing for a second. Currently, people are comparing the SL3 to the Pentax K70 and the KP. Now, both models are more expensive, and the trouble is that at almost $150 more, the K70 manages somehow to be worse. When I say that, I mean that the K70 doesn't have a touchscreen, has lower resolution video, and can't be used as a webcam. Now, for a tech guy like me, that seems dumb. It seems that Pentax has very much centered its focus on making the photographer's photographer happy, the kind of people who are almost exclusively concerned with the quality of the image which the camera produces. Having said that, and please keep in mind that I'm not a professional photographer here, even keeping this in mind, the difference between these 2 models isn't that great with regard to image quality. Also, the SL3 is incredibly adaptable. Like I said, if I did want to stream and use it as a webcam, I can do that. If I want to pull full resolution files via Bluetooth to my phone, I can do that too. Also, the SL3 has an articulated screen and the K70 doesn't. And again, as a tech vlogger, and I think as any vlogger would appreciate, it's insanely nice to be able to see what's on screen as you're filming. To add to that functionality, if I'm taking a family photo, I can use my iPhone as a remote and I can use it to preview the image. What's odd to me is that if you want these features from Pentax, you need to shell out around $1,200. And I do have some follow-up thoughts now. Pentax is offering something which has significantly fewer features at a much higher price, and that doesn't seem like a great deal to me. But moving along, some more in-depth thoughts on the design of the Canon SL3. I really like the articulated screen, but I really wish that the rotational hinge went both ways because I am terrified that I'm going to confidently twist it the wrong way someday. Just to go back to the iPhone app for a second, I have a good thing and a bad thing to talk about. First, the good thing. I've never really enjoyed navigating camera software, and that's mostly because I think by and large, it's kind of mediocre. But the nice thing about having an iPhone app for the Canon is that I can basically handle all of the Bluetooth setup and the Wi-Fi on the app. Basically, the camera just needs to be on, and if it's on, I can handle all the connection and the transfer on the app. Which, as a side note, is developed surprisingly well, given that the bar was kind of low to start with. Now, here's the thing I don't like. Even when you connect your phone to the camera via Bluetooth, for some reason you still need to connect to the Wi-Fi network which the camera creates. This is probably because it needs to be a high-fidelity connection, just guessing. What this means essentially is that you don't actually have an internet connection, and if you were downloading, say, something from Netflix, you're probably going to have to use your data to do that while you're pulling content from your camera. Next, the mic. The SL3's microphone has a surprisingly decent dynamic range. Things sound really nice up close and up to about 5 or 10 feet away. I haven't tested it in windy conditions, but my guess is that if you expect to film in wind a lot, you should probably get an external mic with a wind muff of some kind. Here's an example of the mic quality.
Can you get me out of here?
No, actually, I just need you to say something that's hopefully not safe for work.
So safe for work.
Yes.
Bookend.
Bookend.
As far as internal software is concerned, I feel that Canon, as I mentioned before, is pretty standard. It's not magical to use or anything, but it does the job. Looking forward to the future though, I'm really hoping that we can clip our phones to the back of a DSLR and then just navigate our camera menus from there. But unless you're into red gear, that's just a fantasy for now. That said, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video, and as always, I'll be right back.